What's up guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Justin and this is going to be about how there is another tech bubble and how this affects the economy on this go around. Stay tuned. What's up guys, welcome back. I am Justin Colby and these videos are all things business, entrepreneurship, and real estate. And in this video, I'm telling you there is another tech bubble, but it's not the type of tech bubble you might be thinking. Let me explain. So as we well know, most of the big tech firms are out of the Bay Area, everywhere from Santa Clara, San Jose, San Francisco, and in that general area. And I will tell you, coming from that area, it has driven a massive economy. Now, there has already been, and the word I was looking for is already, a .com bubble that was a big explosion. I was a little too young to A, take advantage of the rise and or B, be affected by the fall. But there was also another tech boom starting with Facebook and Google over the last decade plus. This has drastically affected all of the Bay Area and most prominently San Francisco. While we are going through this incredibly terrible pandemic, there's been a lot of different shakeups in the world, and one of those is within the tech industry. Now, how does this supposed bubble affect the common person? Well, let me tell you, after doing a good amount of research on this subject, how this is already affecting different layers of the economy, employment, and otherwise, especially in the housing sector. According to an article that I read in CNBC, this has drastically affected the Bay Area, specifically San Francisco's housing sector. Now, per this article, the rents have gone down roughly 20% over this last year. And in my opinion, this is very good news. Most, if not all of San Francisco was wildly overpriced, not just to rent, but also to actually buy a property if you were looking to own. This has caused a big ripple effect within the entire Bay Area, again, specifically to San Francisco, because you are specifically gentrifying the entire city. People can't afford to live in San Francisco, and guess what? That has started to leak into, like I said, surrounding cities, North Bay, South Bay, and East Bay, where you're literally gentrifying this entire area, and the lower to medium class literally doesn't have a place that is affordable for them to go live. Now, there are big organizations, in the fair housing space that have talked a lot about this. You can find a lot about this there on the internet. But over the time that the Facebooks and the Googles and the GoDaddies and the LinkedIns and all of these social media platforms and tech as a whole has continued to grow and time again continue to surpass anyone's understanding of how big they could grow, they've essentially made San Francisco and the Bay Area a hub, and that has really just made it catastrophic for those that love the area, want to live in the area, believe in a lot of the philosophies that Californians believe in, but they can no longer live there. So what that actually has had happen is they are having to move other places. Now, why is that important over this boom? Is because now people have had to quote unquote be displaced from the beautiful Bay Area into other markets and or out of state. None more highlighted by what has recently happened because of most of these tech companies have actually enforced a stay-at-home work order based around this pandemic. Now, here's how this starts to affect everybody and why this bubble that I mentioned may not be the type of bubble that you would have thought of based around historical bubbles. What now has happened is rental rates are decreasing because people are leaving the city in droves for several reasons. One, even the rich realize how god-awful the rents and mortgages are because of how inflated the prices are. So even them, being smart business people, are saying, I don't need to spend this type of money to live. I can go elsewhere and afford a much better price point with a much more beautiful actual asset, whether it be something you're renting or buying. You also have the people that were really struggling paycheck to paycheck thinking the same thing. So the Bay Area, specifically San Francisco, people are fleeing at a mass rate, including going to cities and states like mine, Arizona, specifically Phoenix. We are seeing, last count, roughly 500 people a day are leaving the whole state of California, and a lot of this has to do with San Francisco into a state like Arizona, which is the city Phoenix, and the numbers are starting to skyrocket here. So what does this mean for the tech bubble? Well, the bubble I'm talking about really talks about business as a whole. The tech companies are continuing to flourish. Google is flourishing, Facebook is flourishing, etc. But it is really a bubble around the area of the Bay Area. The San Francisco market, the surrounding areas are now getting this incredibly flood of people leaving, but also people going outside and creating a bigger bubble. So for example, people are fleeing into Marin County and Sonoma County, which is just north of San Francisco. This is creating, in my opinion, an artificial price increase for those areas because the demand is so high. As you've seen on other videos, we've already talked about how the demand and supply of real estate right now is crazy unbalanced, right? The demand is incredibly high, the supply is incredibly low. And so people are fleeing the San Francisco area, fleeing into Marin County and Sonoma County and others, increasing price hikes, and it's done somewhat artificially because now people can live wherever. You even have some of these big CEOs of these tech companies fleeing not just the city of San Francisco, but the entire state of California. As I've mentioned, between taxes for income taxes, between cost of living, between some level of gentrification, people are saying enough with this, I'm just gonna leave, and they're heading into states like Texas, Florida, Arizona, Nevada. And that is a good thing, and it also causes other problems. It's created a frenzy around properties to find and buy. Specifically here in Arizona, I can talk intimately about the high price point market is at an all-time low. People can't find properties in the $1 million plus because of all this money coming out of the Bay Area, coming into markets like Arizona. Simultaneously, people, because they now can work from home, are choosing to live wherever they want to live and creating a high demand for rents, meaning the rents are going up. People can leave and live, whether it be in Phoenix or Denver or Texas or Florida. They can live wherever they want to be living. And that means some of them can't even find a home. Is creating this bubble. Like I mentioned, it's not the bubble you think. There's creating this market, real estate market bubble that actually has way too much demand over the supply. So people can't even buy because there's nothing to buy. So they're having to rent, which now is creating an issue with the rental market. Again, if you have properties that you are holding and renting, that is beautiful for you. But for those even looking to find properties, it can make it incredibly difficult. Now, the Bay Area is gonna, for my opinion, always gonna have a hand in this tech industry. It is kind of ingrained now within it. Even since the days of like the gold rush, there's been these big bubbles in the state of California, specifically in the Bay Area. Whether it be the gold rush, the stock market, the .com, the tech, these bubbles get created, but there's side effects to these bubbles. And it's because specifically in this one, it's now creating a real estate bubble that, in my opinion, should have popped a while ago to get a little bit correction in the real estate market, but hasn't. And now, because of the tech bubble and because of the stay-at-home orders a lot of these companies are doing, they are allowing people to work from home. Those same people can live anywhere. They can live in a more affordable area. And quite honestly, San Francisco now has become very tough with all the homelessness, and a lot of people just simply don't believe it's as beautiful as it once was. I happen to be one of those people. And so now they're saying as beautiful as San Francisco was, it no longer has the same intrigue and beauty. I'm looking to move into another area. Maybe they're going to Florida, maybe they're going to Texas, maybe they're going to Phoenix, Denver, Vegas. But it's just creating a whole nother bubble artificially that there will be some sort of recourses behind that. Who's to tell what recourse is gonna happen behind this bubble? But here's a question I have for you. Here's what I like to do. I like to smash the like button if you're liking this video, because it helps the YouTube gods help my videos get out there further, and hit subscribe so you get notified and you know when these videos are coming out. Please hit that like button, helps my videos. So with that said, there's gonna be a lot to see that transpires through this. Are we gonna have just stay-at-home orders for a lot of these companies? Are they just gonna say, you know what, we don't need the 1 million square foot office space to house all these employees. 90% of them can work from home. We can downsize. What kind of ripple effect does that have on the commercial industry? I'll do another training about that, another video about that, because I do think there's a commercial space that is gonna create a massive bubble, and that's gonna hurt the banks, etc., etc. And then how does this create, the bubble that we're already seeing has been created in the real estate sector? How does that transpire? What comes out of all of this? What are the good pros? What are the cons? There will be future trainings regarding this, because the reality is this has never been seen before. We haven't encountered something like this, at least in my lifetime. And so we're all navigating this real time. What I can tell you is the game has changed, and we just need to be able to ride this wave and make the best decisions that we know how moving forward, because the tech bubble has created a real estate bubble, and we don't know when either of them are gonna pop, if they're gonna pop, if they're maybe just gonna deflate a little bit. There's a lot of questions out there, but start doing your research. The article that I'm referencing is below here in the comments. Again, hit that like button if you like this video. If you have questions, tag me in the comments. I'm happy to answer any and all questions that you have. Hopefully this finds you well. If you are interested in real estate, just go to thescienceofflipping.com. I talk all things real estate. There's a lot of free education over there. I appreciate you guys, and we will see you on the next video. Peace.